Hello, everyone. It's Jerry at the Fledge, and welcome to another episode of Every Damn Day. And today is episode 362. So, after today, there are three more guests, and then we're taking a break and starting to publish the data and all of that. We're super excited for September 12th and super excited to start showing you all everything that we've learned in talking to these 365 amazing people. So, real quick, I'm in the sanctuary, back in my normal spot. I've got my Fledge Foundation, Bigger Brain, Better World. Watched my show yesterday. He talked about a bigger brain and how collaboration gives that to us and diversity strengthens it and all of that. So shout out to the Fledge Foundation for helping with everything they do. And also want to shout out to thisent.com, the champ, Joe Walker. Getting excited about what we're about to do together. So, but let me get to my guest because I have been excited since he signed up. How you doing today, Kwaj?
Hey, I'm doing good, Jerry. Big Jerry. Good.
You gonna try to make that stick?
Oh, it's sticking, yeah.
All right. So, what you been up to today?
Today, man, I did a little bit of music, did a little bit of reading, the daily things I do.
Yeah.
What about you, man?
I do something similar. I was just thinking about doing a TikTok that's funny about like my day is pretty routine.
Yeah.
It's especially with every damn day happening for 362 days in a row. I have to be in this like really rigid routine. So I get up and read. I get up and organize my tasks for the day. I send out my every damn day email. And then I come here and I spend about an hour being a farmer, taking care of the chickens, the fish, the cat, all the plants and food that we have.
Right.
And then I worry for 2 hours whether my guest is going to show up or not for the day.
Yo, that is funny, man.
Yeah, that's been my most stressful thing and about the show is that are they really going to show up? Because it's boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And there's no room to kind of wiggle very much. So,
hey, I don't know how you find the time to do all the stuff you do in the community with this, man. Like,
Well, it starts with you on the screen right now. There's no show without you.
Yeah.
And there's no food without other people that help us distribute the food and all those things. So, collaboration, man, it's the key.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So, hey, I got to show you something real quick. Digit Hustle News came for Kwaj, so wanted to come see your show today. Do you know who that is?
I don't. I would love to meet whoever they are.
I'm drawing a blank on his name. He did a show, and he is a Lansing local who publishes a YouTube channel about cryptocurrencies.
Okay.
So, yeah, and he's blowing up. He's doing a good job.
Sounds like a smart guy. Okay, we'll have to make that happen.
So, hey, real quick, who do you want to give a shout out to? It'll be easy to connect you to.
Yeah. First of all, just the whole Lansing community and Michigan as a whole, but specifically CISO. I feel like a lot of people know who CISO is, so shout out to CISO. And then AOTA, I recently kind of just joined them, so All Above the Academy, like they're doing dope things, so shout out to them.
CISO's show 365. He's
next.
He's he's going to be the last show of the first series.
I couldn't think of anybody else,
Yeah, he asked me for that spot about 6 months ago, so I had to give it to him.
Okay. So, hopefully he shows up. Yeah.
Man, don't bring that negative.
No, man, come on, bro. No, I'm playing.
No, I've been worried about it for 6 months.
Nah, no need to worry, bro.
Every guest is going to show up, so I think it's going out really smooth now. So thanks for that. Hey, let's get into you a little bit. Where were you born and raised? Where'd you go to school? Kind of what's brought you to be a hip hop artist?
Born in North Carolina, actually. That's where my parents immigrated from Nigeria, and then they landed in North Carolina, where I was born. And then we moved over here because I got a job. We moved to Lansing, Michigan. And then I went to this place that isn't even a school anymore called Hope Academy, like over on the south side. And then transferred out of there to a school on Michigan Ave, a Catholic school called Resurrection. It's like a church. Some
Yep.
people may go there. So, and then from
It's
there,
just like a couple blocks away.
exactly,
Yeah.
like right on the strip. So yeah, did a lot of ditching classes and going to Speedway, getting snacks and candy, like, you know. And then I went to Lansing Catholic, which is also like right down the way. But I only went there for 2 years. You know, I was kind of getting into things that I shouldn't have been getting into there. So then I went to this prep basketball school in East Lansing called Summit Christian Academy, because I was actually pretty good at basketball, and we would travel around the nation and play ball. That's where I ultimately graduated from. So it's all been a Lansing thing, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody said any of those schools. Well, maybe Catholic Central.
Right. But yeah.
In their procession. So yeah, thanks.
Yeah, and I mean, since it was all so close, I mean, I played sports with every, you know, Pattingale, Eastern, Sexton.
Yeah.
Whether it was AAU basketball, I met all people who went to all the schools in the Lansing area. So, you know,
Yeah.
you get plugged in.
Did you only play basketball, or did you play any other sports?
I mean, track, tennis, football,
Yeah.
but they weren't my thing. I just stuck to what I love, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I played a bunch of sports, but
Yeah.
I stuck with wrestling for everything.
I can see that
through
man.
my college. Yeah.
You were a collegiate athlete, yo.
Yep.
Yeah.
D1, Big Ten.
Yo, a big thing about me, shout out to anyone who played collegiate sports, because the discipline and dedication it takes to get to that level is something a lot of people don't, you know, they don't realize.
Yeah.
So shout out to you, Big Jerry.
Well, did you get there?
No, I didn't, man. And I've always been super salty, man. I was young. I was like 16 as a senior, and you know, the discipline it took, I wasn't even thinking that forward. I was just like, yo, this is just basketball. Who cares?
My dad told me, like, in 1972 that I was going to learn to wrestle, and it would get me a wrestling scholarship, and I would go to college and I would study computer science. And I was like 7 years old when he told me that. And I was like, shit, I guess this is what I have to do. And I never deviated from it the entire time. Except for I dropped out of computer science and went to math instead.
Hey, it's close enough, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to your pops.
And I was raised in poverty on the south and north side of Lansing. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, sports is a way out.
So, yo, tell me what schools you went to. You went to throughout, like.
I'll list them fast. I went to Kendon, I went to Riddle, I went to Atwood, I went to Gardner, I went to Everett, and I went to Eastern, and I went to U of M.
I feel like that's too many schools in the beginning. You were bouncing around.
In 1976, the Lansing School District lost a case and had to desegregate the schools, so they had to implement busing. So I got bused from Kendon to Riddle as part of the 70s desegregation effort. So I went to an all-black neighborhood, and they came to an all-white neighborhood. And that had a lot of pluses and a lot of minuses.
So how were you able to, you know, end up the way you are? You're such a wholesome, all-inclusive dude, but you were living in the time where it was like segregated, and I mean, I think you picked the right side of history, but some people didn't. You know, like, how does?
Well, you got to go back to your parents. My parents were not racist. I mean, they did racist things like we all do. For sure. But they weren't racist. Like, you wouldn't look at them and say, oh, they love Trump or some shit like that.
Right.
They were hippies, they were radicals, they were progressive, and they fought for the civil rights. They fought against Vietnam and things like that. And then to me and my family, it was a privilege to be able to be bused to Riddle, because then I went from 2 black kids in my school and trying to understand why the Muslim kid couldn't celebrate Christmas with us, and just weird stuff, to a really inclusive. I mean, weird that we didn't talk about it. Weird that we didn't get introduced to Islam. Weird that it was like a hush hush. Those kids are different. And
Right.
then you go to Riddle, and you're immersed in something that you have to respond to, you have to learn from and absorb from. And I swear to God, it was in 5th grade when I realized that diversity created a bigger brain, because my whole worldview doubled.
Right.
And the other thing, I was lucky, I played football and baseball, so I already knew a bunch of the kids there, because we played in sports together. So
Sure.
you flipped this whole show on me, man. We can't.
No, man, I told you, man, it's a two-way street.
It's sometimes the questions that people ask tell more about them than the answer themselves. So I love this format right now.
Hey, yep.
So I don't know. I feel lucky. And then throughout my life, Lansing's super diverse. And if you get paying attention to that when you're younger, I think that you then start to appreciate it, enjoy it, and yeah.
For sure. It's like where you've been definitely shapes your perspective on things. So you were definitely lucky to get that diverse experience.
Yeah. I mean, if I grew up in an all-white community in an all-white school, I don't know. I think with my parents, I'd still be okay, but I don't know. You would have to talk me out of the Confederate flag or something.
What's funny though, man, is because, I grew up in Lansing, and me being Black, I went to predominantly white schools too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny how you can switch both sides of the coin, from race to also like the type of environment you grew up in. So maybe I'll be even rapping about different things if I went to like Gardner or Sexton or Everett, but
yeah, I'm sure that you would have. But maybe, I don't know, maybe your style would be different. Maybe you wouldn't have been a rapper. Maybe, I don't know.
That's crazy.
Who knows?
Yeah.
So I think it's the best of all possible worlds, because that's exactly where we're at right now.
Exactly. Everything is meant to happen.
So what happened after high school? After the Summit, I guess that was high school, right? The Summit Christian.
Man, I kicked it at Lansing Community College, right downtown for like 3 years, kind of not knowing what I wanted to do. I was rapping then, so that's where I was really trying to just hone my pen. I didn't even go outside. I was just writing raps for like 3 years straight. I did eventually go out to Grand Valley and Grand Rapids. I got my bachelor's degree over there, and then came back to Lansing. Still unsure of like if I really wanted to do the corporate life, which I obviously don't. But I've still, had jobs while I'm doing my rapping thing. So, and that's kind of where we're at right now, working and rapping, but just trying to rap really at the end of the day.
What was your bachelor's in?
It was in general management. Like,
okay.
I didn't really do a focus. You can do accounting, supply chain, marketing, and I was just like, let me just get this degree and let me just get it. Yeah.
So do you think that helps with your music career?
I would just say college in general, it might not be worth the money, but it definitely helps you like formulate like smart answers, which that helps in anything, Yeah. Like it just helps you process things in a better way. It can. So I think it did help me.
Yeah, I think sometimes kids they go through the steps to get through college, and they're not studying or whatever, and maybe they drop out or whatever, or they fail out, or they have to leave for some tragedy or something. And I don't know, it doesn't work for everybody, but
no, it doesn't.
Lifelong education. See,
right.
So my daughter graduated with genetics from MSU, and she's out in LA working for Cedars-Sinai. My son hates it when I say this. He dropped out of high school when he was 16 because he couldn't stand the BS. And he right now makes more money than my daughter does. And he just bought a house on the north side and all this stuff. So, it's not always for everybody, and not everyone has that same path.
Exactly.
But we spend a lot of time telling our kids they got to go to college.
I don't know. Yeah, why do we do that? It was like ingrained that was the best way to get like money, financial security.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if you do what you love and you're inspired that way, it'll work itself out.
Yeah, I think one of those guys that fixes the wires, the lines for BWL, can make like $125,000 a year.
I might apply and do that, bro. Like,
and LCC used to have a sweet program they still do, I think, line working.
Hey, you just gave me my job, my next career, bro. Like,
I think it's a lot of overtime.
Okay, maybe not then, but
you're gonna have to tap on that wire and make a beat while you're up there rapping.
Y'all go viral on TikTok for that, bro. I might do that.
You got a TikTok?
I do, but I don't get on it, man.
All right, I'm finding you anyway, so I'll follow you.
All right, got you back.
So, what was I want to show what Da Vinci. He used to rap using Da Vinci, and you guys rap together somewhere.
Yeah. Now that he said Da Vinci, me and him, we've been to a lot of shows together. Now I know who it is.
Yeah.
That's a smart dude, by the way.
Oh, I talked to him for a bit about crypto, and yeah, I like how he's thinking.
He's been on that crypto wave for years, like pushing it before like the whole crypto boom that happened, and he was on it before then.
Yeah.
So it's good to see what he was talking about come to fruition. Like,
yeah,
that's a good thing. Yeah.
So let's talk about some of your projects.
Yeah.
So you're a hip hop artist. That's what it says at the bottom of your email.
Yeah,
I think so. I just took it from there.
Facts.
And what are some of the things you got going on right now?
Well, there's a lot. It's I got the album I just dropped 2 months ago that I spent about 2 years on. I'm still promoting that, shooting music videos. It's a 12-song album. I'm shooting music videos for like 6 of them. I'm shopping it out to all these labels, social media pages. I've done like 4 or 5 shows just based on the reception from the album. So I've been going to like Chicago, South Carolina, Wisconsin. I'm supposed to be going out to LA in a couple months. So I'm just really I'm doing a lot of promotion, trying to get things in order.
How did COVID screw up your kind of tour you wanted to do with it, or is it all starting to work out?
It did, bro. I was gonna do a show at the Capital City Film Fest when COVID just started with like this huge artist, and I would have loved to network with that guy, and I feel like it would have snowballed effect into something crazy. So it did stop me from going to shows and meeting artists like that was. But
we were supposed to be the home venue. So we did the Capital City Film Festival 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
And we always had the most films out of any venue.
Right.
And when COVID hit, I was heartbroken.
You feel me, man.
I do feel you, because that was going to be sweet. This year, 2020 was going to pop. I just knew it was.
It was going to shake, man. Something crazy.
Yeah. So I've got your website, lordkwaj.com.
Yeah.
Can we get to that album from there?
You can. In fact, right when you go to that website, the first thing you'll see is a listen button. And if you click on that, it'll say Lost Art for Collectors and then listen. And then you can click on that and it'll bring you to the album.
All right. And I'm going to share your Instagram too and your Facebook too.
All right.
Real quick. And then I'm going to go to your website for a second too.
Cool.
So you rap. You shoot videos, rap videos, right?
Yeah.
Do you do anything else? Are you a painter? Are you any other type of artist or anything, or whatever?
Yeah,
a dancer.
I would say if we could relate just building relationships to being an artist.
Uh-huh.
And to being a learner. That's besides rapping. I just like to soak in information and like meet people who are like aligned with how I think. But no, I don't do any painting, breakdancing. Like, nah, it's just really just straight up rapping.
Okay.
So,
And are you doing, is rap your side hustle or is it your main hustle and you got another, you said you're still working, right?
yeah, I'm trying to make it my main hustle. Like, working a 9 to 5 and coming home and writing rhymes, it's like mentally tired already from going to work.
Yeah.
Ideally, from 9 to 5, I'd be rapping and then doing whatever I wanted afterwards.
Are you close to that?
Nah, it's a long grind, man.
Yeah.
We're getting closer, but it's a long way.
So as you, I don't know, as you have been evolving in hip hop, what are some of the struggles you've had in the music industry, or some of the positive things that you've had? How's Lansing? Are we supportive? Are we? Um, is this a big enough market for you?
I'm gonna tackle the support first because it's really funny. Like a couple years ago, I used to think that no one supported me. But what it actually was is that no one knew who I was because I was just staying inside all the time, writing these raps, thinking like, "Oh, I'm so dope. Like, why is no one supporting?" But then I met Jose Moore. Then I met the rest of AOTA and started really getting into the scenes and showing up at all the events. And then everyone was like, "Yo, Kwaj, you're dope." And then so the support is there. You just gotta go get it. You can't just expect it to come to you. I think the market is too small.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people in Lansing are okay with like being the big fish in a small pond, and I'm not okay with that. But I mean, it's still home. But eventually, I plan to move out to a bigger market for sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'd love to see us, it always seems like we try to do, like we want to keep everyone here. So you're kind of trapped
Exactly.
and we're going to be mad at you if you leave,
Exactly.
right? Everyone's going to be all mad at you. And so people feel a little trapped. And the way I look at it, like when my daughter went to Los Angeles,
Yeah.
I just think, all right, she's going to be sending me information home all the time. We're going to be talking. Our brain just got bigger. And if you go pop somewhere, then the Lansing brain's going to get bigger because of that. And we're going to have another hero to tell a story about and all of this stuff. Sometimes it gets a little lean because we got Magic Johnson. Everyone can say that real quick.
It gets lean, bro.
Yeah. And I think part of that is we do it to each other sometimes.
We do.
And I don't know. I'm proud of Lansing, but I have to search for that.
And I think a lot of people should too. Like, perfect example, there's this rapper out called Jack Harlow. He's from Louisville, Kentucky. I mean, no one cares about Louisville, but the second he got on the map, he put his city on the map, and now like if you go out and expand, you can talk about your city more.
Yeah.
We're just talking about Lansing in between Lansing people. It's not going anywhere.
I find that, like, how have the shows been? Have you done many shows in Lansing?
I mean, once again, there's only like 3 venues. Like, everyone who's a serious artist, I hope you've done a show at the Loft or the Mac or the Avenue, the Robin Theater. I mean, there's really not a lot of options, man.
The Fledge?
Oh no, I mean, see, you guys are like a not even an official venue, although you do hold a lot of shows there.
Yeah, but it's all right. It's all right.
I'm trying to do a show there.
We were the last venue standing during COVID until people started opening back up.
Hey, okay, that's on me, man. I would love to do a show there.
The mic is probably live still. No, we turned the amps off, but it would take a minute. Right. Just a minute. Jeremy Hurt saying the Roundabout is also a venue.
I mean, if you want to say that. Shout out to Jeremy though. Great guy.
Yeah. So what are you working on to kind of take that step? of a bigger market or whatever?
Well, I mean, just really saving money so I can move. It's really, and then I'm shopping out my album and all my stuff out to that same market right now online, kind of like setting the pad for when I arrive type of thing. You know?
Yeah. Are you doing anything with AOTA, like to teach kids and stuff like that, or?
I've been
Uh,
talking to Jose and James about
yeah.
doing some like MC writing classes for the kids. So, but with COVID and all, like things
Yeah,
got
it's
on hold.
tough.
But when they get back into action, I would love to, get in that.
Yeah. You think we're coming out of COVID?
Well, I mean, yeah, I think that people are ready to just move on and accept it as what it is. I don't think COVID is really slowing down, but we're
Yeah.
trying to get back out. What do you think?
I want to get back out. I want the Roaring Twenties that I thought was going to come immediately after it. But I know that our community is suffering. I'm worried about kids right now and the schools in particular, because there's no really good solution, because the online didn't work very well. Uh, the masks aren't going to work well, even if they say they're mandated and all of that. The vaccine, there's too much divisiveness even to talk about it. Nobody will even talk about it now because it's going to bring up some argument. And, it's just, to me, there's not a good, no matter which route we take, it's not going to be good.
So that's another thing that I love to ask people. It's so easy to say what doesn't work, but then if you don't have the solution, you shouldn't be upset at how things are being handled if you can't offer an alternative solution.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing the best they can, maybe, and if they're not, then say how else it could be better. But if you can't, it's kind of like, all right.
Yeah. I think, I do have a way that I would want everybody to follow. Do you want to hear that?
Yeah,
I think vaccines are the answer.
Okay.
But I know that there's people that don't trust medicine. I know that there's people that have health issues that would make it risky for them. I know that there's people that also don't understand and can't resolve. If you have the vaccine and you still get it, then the vaccine doesn't work. But the vaccine, it's just all kinds of really complicated things.
Right.
So yeah.
I mean, and that's, if we're being frank, it really isn't complicated. It just comes down to, like, some people just don't have the capability to process things like that.
Yeah.
But
so I got my vaccine. I still mask up sometimes, especially if I think I don't want to get somebody else sick now.
Yeah.
And being at this venue, being with all the people that, I deal with a lot of homeless people. I deal with a lot of people that have a lot bigger problems than COVID.
Right.
And so, I don't want to make these people sick. I don't want this food distribution to be shut down, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So I'll take the steps that I believe in and just do my best. And then.
Have you thought about making the Fledge an area where you could get the vaccine? Because I feel like you have a lot of reach. So if you offered it, like, a lot of people would take it.
The first and third Thursday of every month, you can get a free vaccine here.
Okay, dope.
Single shot.
That's dope.
Yeah. And we do free testing at the same time. And I was trying to get Crystal Ray to partner with us and bring their lab over here, but there were some licensing problems or something. It wasn't as easy to do as I thought it was going to be.
I mean, we're talking about saving people's lives. The red tape has got to be crazy.
Yeah. But we're trying. I got my vaccine, my wife, my kids, all of that. So, and then anybody that works closely in here, they got vaccines, but we never mandate it or anything.
That's what's up. What do you feel about that? All these colleges mandating it, and if you don't get it within a certain time, you either got to re-enroll at a different school. Like, people are having to make these decisions, like,
I'm worried. Well, anytime you have a tool like that in a racist system, it's going to be used for racism.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm worried about that.
Expand upon that.
Most of our systems are racist. It's built into them very much. And whenever you give a racist a new weapon, they'll use it for racism.
How do you think it's being used like that as we speak?
I don't think it is yet, but I'm worried that it could be. So I worry that it could be used as a mechanism to decrease enrollment with some justified way of the black-brown communities. I think we'll see a stigma that, the white kids that are, we'll see data published that says, oh, 200 white kids got their vaccine or got kicked out for the vaccine, but 6,000 black kids. And then there's all kinds of ramifications on both sides of that.
That's how it goes. Disproportionate numbers. Yeah.
Yeah. And so people, anytime I think you give a racist a weapon, they're going to try to use it, and it sets us back. So
it does.
My fear is that the outcomes will be less exposure to that college experience from black, brown, and poor people.
Right. Two things. One, you could argue that Johnson & Johnson is the least effective of the vaccines, and I've noticed that one is only offered in lower income areas. Like Pfizer and Moderna are always in like East Lansing, Okemos, but they never offer those in like the Cristo Rey areas or anywhere else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then two, there's this therapeutic that works on COVID. It's like you take it orally. The company's called HGen, and they did a study in that if this therapeutic vaccine was approved, it would help specifically African Americans. And they went to get like the emergency use approval so they could get it out to the people. But the FDA has been like dragging their feet on it.
Yeah.
And some people have been saying specifically because it's going to help African Americans like get off the ventilators in the hospital. But it's like you said, it's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know HGen. I'm definitely going to research it. I've got it written at the top of my notes right now.
Yeah.
And, I think about the inequities in, like, maybe HGen is a black-led company, and there's some program for fast track, but you got to be, a pharmaceutical or whatever, a medical company for 50 years.
Right.
But 50 years ago, they didn't let black and brown people be medical companies. So now you can't get that fast track, whatever it was. I mean, I had Shara from the Agape Organic Farms the other day, and she was trying to get an FHA loan, but it required being a master farmer or a farm owner for 3 years. But she's only the second black woman to be a farmer in Michigan, and she didn't have that experience, so she couldn't get that loan. And it's inequity. And then there's, subtle or blatant things in these systems that keep those inequities.
I know.
And that's why we've got to knock these down. It's why we have to shatter these systems. They're built with the wrong material. Let's break them down now before it kills us all.
That's such a heavy task, but yeah, we all got to work towards that for sure.
So,
yeah.
Quit interviewing me, man.
Hey, man. So, yo, that's funny, man. All right, man. We'll go ahead with one of the next questions, I guess.
Well, what would you say you do every damn day to push your mission forward?
Just be a sponge, man. I'm the type of guy I listen before I talk. So that I'm a big guy of like drawing correlations to things. Like if you listen before you talk, you're gonna learn, and if you learn, you're gonna grow, so forth. Like that's just what it is. I don't go into the room just trying to brag about what I got. I go into a room and I'm listening, I'm learning. So that's what I do. I do stuff like this. I call the boys or my friends and have engaging conversations, which inspires me to write and so forth, man. So every day I just try to learn, man. Try to listen.
See, this is what's working, is that you stole my game from me. Because I say that to people all the time. You want to be the smartest one in the room, then keep your mouth shut.
Yep.
Right? And
Yeah,
just
no.
absorb and absorb and absorb.
What?
It's like,
yep. Go ahead.
it's like playing poker.
Yeah.
Right? Just sit around and watch what everyone's doing and let them make a bunch of mistakes and say some stupid shit, or maybe even teach you something.
Nah, for sure. That's what I
So,
do, man. And I'm trying to find a fine line between, because sometimes you got to flex. You can't always just be the quiet dude and learn. And I'm trying to find the strategic points where I really got to show, like, yo, I really do that. So that's, you got to be able to do both, man.
it's funny, as I was given that poker analogy, I was thinking, but sometimes you got to bluff. Sometimes you got to. So maybe my metaphor falls apart a little bit, but
Oh, no.
because you
Sometimes
do have
gotta
to flex.
Yeah, that's funny.
So
Nah, I'm glad you feel me on that.
I do feel you on that. What? So we daisy chain these shows together, and this question is, well, I'm going to say it afterwards, but this is one of the best questions I've ever had that I passed from one guest to the next, in my opinion, anyways. And so yesterday I had Liano from the mysolidarity.org. So all the progressives trying to get solidarity and workers' rights and all of that stuff. And his question to you is, our culture, it's made up, our culture is really made up of the stories we tell. And they relate to history and they relate to science and who our heroes are and all of this. But we pass it on through our stories, whether that be a textbook or a rap. If you could change one of the stories that would change our culture, what story would you tell differently?
And that is really a fire question, though, for real. Because no matter how history is told, it's about how it was retold. But so like I said, I would change the story that slavery was, if it wasn't going to be the English, it was going to be the French or whatever. You talk to some people and they say it just happened to be the English who took the Africans away, and that it was going to be somebody, like it had to happen. And I think that's a terrible way to think, that no matter what happens, like this particular race was going to be dominated by somebody. Because I don't think that doesn't help this anything by saying, nah, you were going to be dominated. It was just going to happen. That already says that you think that that particular race is less. So that I would change that, if that answers the question.
And I think it does answer the question, but I want to keep going on this question a little bit, because, well, first of all, that next version of the story is being written right now by the next person that's going to take power. Right. So everybody who's trying to take power is already rewriting these stories.
Yep.
And if that person taking power is a racist, jackass, evil, whatever, then that story is going to be told in the way that the stories get told to us now.
Exactly.
Right?
With a bias. Yeah.
Yes. Our founding fathers. Screw all of them, man. They were all bad. They were all bad. Right?
Yeah. I agree.
And yeah, you can throw parts of the story in that say that, well, they didn't know they were being bad, or that's how it was during the time. It doesn't really matter.
I hate that.
Right?
Yeah.
Africa didn't come and take Europe and pull them in as slaves, right?
Exactly.
And all kinds of different. It's just bullshit.
It is.
And we fight against it. We elect this guy named Trump, and it shocks me that half of us believe that bullshit.
And I might say something controversial right now, but it
Please do.
kind of piggybacks on what you just said. The person in power right now is rewriting history with their biases, so we don't want someone in power who's racist. But you can only affect change by being in power or electing the person who's not racist to be in power. But like, we know who we're voting for. It's not going to be anyone who really changes the tides. So like personally, I don't really go out and vote because I mean, no matter who you elect right now and how we're living, like they're just in it for themselves. And yeah, so I don't know.
I don't think that is. Well, it might be controversial because people want to get out the vote and they want people to participate and they want to take their voice back.
Right, right.
But at the same time, we're voting for one of two evils almost every single time.
Right.
I mean, what? So all these Trump assholes are pushing over us right now. They're taking over whatever they're doing with Texas and all of that. We have the presidency, we have the Senate, and we have the House of Rep in the Democratic Party. What are they doing to fight back?
Exactly. So
they ain't doing shit. They don't care.
So that's why I don't vote. But a lot of people will tell you like, "Oh, it's your civic duty. Why aren't you voting? You could change the world." But I'm like you just said, like we've been voting since America was founded, and look where we're at.
So I'm giving up. I'm letting you interview me now. Do you do you want to hear some more on that, or you want me to?
Nah, go. Yeah. Keep spitting, bro. Yeah, we're just chopping it up.
So I think it was Yale or Princeton. It doesn't matter right now. They did this study over like 40 years of how the American populace voted and what the issues that were important to them and the laws that got passed by the Senate based on what the Americans wanted.
Right.
It's a flat line. There is zero, like
Zero
it's
correlation.
Zero correlation between the American voter and the laws being made at the national level.
Which
right?
I mean, it's huge.
But if you take income out of it, you take all the poor people out, and you say, what did the rich people want? That line almost correlates perfectly.
Because the people in power are rich too.
Yep. Well, it's they're all taking care of each other. The rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. Then my guest yesterday said as that gap has increased because they're basically stealing from labor.
Yeah.
That is the exact same line that the police have used for spending on military grade equipment. It correlates perfectly.
Yeah.
And then the other correlation is prison population.
I know.
So what are we doing?
See, and that's the thing. I don't want to be like a nihilist and say that there's just no point to anything, but it damn near feels like, what can you do?
Well, on the local level, though, all that flips.
Yeah.
The more local people vote for their city council, for their mayor, for what have you, then it gets better. Okay. So I'm starting to think about boycotting all of the state and federal voting, like just leaving it blank and only voting local from now on until it changes.
That's great, because then maybe your local rep can advance and then end up in that seat of power that we want.
Yeah, or even make it so they vote against buying a tank for the Lansing police. Really? We don't need a tank. We're okay.
But then it gets to, like you just said, though, do you want to focus on micro or macro? Because that was like a specifically Lansing focused statement.
Yeah.
Because like, so what if Lansing is good, but on a national level, things aren't okay? I feel like the goal should be macro, changing the macro system. But you got to start from the micro first.
I think so. Okay. I mean, we got to start right here first. Okay. You and I, you know, I was listening to Michael Jackson's "Man in the Mirror" earlier today and thinking, wonder what he was talking about.
What's he talking about, bro?
What did he want to change? So
who knows?
Yeah. So tomorrow on the show, well, we good with that? I mean, because I could talk that question. Oh, the other thing about that question, you're a rapper.
Yeah.
You are retelling the story. You are retelling stories.
Facts.
What is there a particular song that you thought of that you did when you heard that question?
Oh, you mean what we just talked? I mean, yeah,
The
I've written a few songs that touch upon those topics. The main one I would say would be there's a song I got called Two Hands, and that kind of talks about how black kids are being shot. That's the whole focus of the song. So I would definitely tell anyone to listen to that, and I could plug that in, but that's something I could plug in later. But yeah,
I can find it real quick because I'm on your. Is it on your website?
yeah, man. Go to the music tab.
All right, I'm putting your Spotify out here too.
For sure.
All right. I'm gonna go to the guest for a second. Oh, well, before I go to Da Vinci again, just real quick. So I love rap. I don't know if anybody knows that about me, but I love rap, and I love rap because I love poetry, and I love poetry probably because I love 60s and 70s kind of soul and funk music.
Okay.
And to me, Gil Scott Heron and the Last Poets are my two favorite musician groups ever.
Okay.
And to me, they kind of, that's where rap almost came from, but I'm sure I'm way off on that. But the poetry, the storytelling, I've always thought how important rap is to our culture. And it's always, I'm not the right person to say that at this particular, I'm just not the right person to say that.
Sure.
But I just want to say there's a lot of us out here that sincerely love what you are doing and what you are saying, whether you're one of the positive only rappers all the way to this is what I see every day, and I'm sorry that I have to say Percocet in my rap. Right? There's that whole spectrum, but some guys are just telling a story about what they really honestly see. Some of them are not, they're using those words, but some of them are. And I don't know. I think rap's super important.
I think it is too. Honestly, it might be the most important thing. Because you know what I think, a lot of dudes these days try to just act so hard, and that stems from the persona that people put off in the music that we're being fed. It's like you take in what you give out type of thing, or you give out what you take in. Like,
yeah,
I think that's super important, man.
And I think that race, to that one upping each other, or I bet you most of the kids in this neighborhood, anyways, the kids I talk to, the reason that they own a gun is because they wanted to have a gun to show the kid that showed them that he had a gun.
Exactly.
And not in a violent way, but just like my Nikes maybe, or just like my necklace or whatever. Exactly. I want to have the better one than you, or I want to have one if you have one.
Right.
And then it just goes.
And I tuned in when you were talking to KT the poet, and you guys were talking about that exact same thing.
Yeah.
And that's where I think that as races we do it differently. Like, all races compete, but a lot of African Americans compete in, like, I got this, you got that, and it's in the form of a gun, money, shoes, clothes, cars. And then you could say some white people compete, but in a different way that isn't about showing those type of things. So I think we should shift our focus as a culture on the things that really matter.
Yeah.
So.
Well, like each other first, or getting all of our friends out of poverty. Exactly. We got 27% of Lansing is in poverty.
Yeah.
And what are either of the mayoral candidates talking about that right now when they go? They don't talk about that. They talk about a bunch of bullshit.
So even on a local level, the bullshitting on it, like.
Yeah. That's why we got to vote and get someone in there. I'm going to promote too. Get Claretta, get Oprah. Get those two in there for sure.
So those are two people you like?
Claretta Duckett running at large, and Oprah Ravish running in second ward.
Okay.
Those two for sure. And they'll throw Kathy Dunbar in there, who I do like. Um, and But my problem is with Andy Short. He tear gassed our kids. He victim blamed me when we got shot. He doesn't fund programs that help Black, brown, and poor people. He is sponsored basically by a bunch of rich corporations, and he's doubling down on the police. And you can get 20 more police if you want. It's not going to stop the two kids in an argument over whatever their argument from escalating that later.
Right.
The police aren't going to be in the middle of that. They don't know what's happening.
Yeah, that's not the
And-
solution.
Mm-mm.
You know, focus on the kids, making the environment better, more safe. You know,
Yeah. So shout out to AOTA, shout out to the
Facts.
village, shout out to the people that are helping the kids,
facts.
because that's where the change is happening. It's not 5 more cops.
Nah,
So, and that just makes me want to just get us all together and just build our own thing, and they can go fight over their tanks and whatever the hell they want, but stay out of our way.
you talking like a neighborhood crime watch built by
well,
the people type of thing?
I don't even know if I'd call it crime watch, because I hate taking 2 young men who maybe were shot and killed and calling and reducing it to a crime. It's not a crime. It's the loss of 2
Right.
people that we love.
Right.
So it's more, Andy talks about getting tough on crime, and I'm thinking, we lost 17 young men in Lansing, and you're calling it crime?
No, you're right. That's it's reducing it to it's the wrong term for sure. It's a tragedy. It's Okay.
It's a I don't know if I'd call it an epidemic, but it is within Lansing. I forget what that smaller, but no, nationwide it's an epidemic.
For sure.
Our gun laws are stupid.
Yeah.
And that don't mean that we need more gun control, but we need more training. I shouldn't be able to go buy a pistol with 0 training, and I can buy as many as I want from Dicker and Deal right now.
Yeah, that's not okay, man.
No. And if I want to buy one out across the street, that's super easy too.
Hey,
So-
man, I'm with you but then it's like that American ego thing. Like, we were founded as like we do whatever we want, and that mentality seeps into the laws too. Like,
Yeah.
it's-
We were,
you
but
know,
we were founded by slave owners that went off from the Federalist Papers that talked about the wealthy have the rights, and we weren't founded in any special good way. It was pretty evil.
yo, facts. And I tried to tell a friend of mine that from back in the day, and he was admiring all our founding fathers about how they built this great country, and I was like, yo, dog, they were terrible people. But he wasn't having it. But that's that discourse that you got to have with your friends, you know.
We kill thousands, if not tens or hundreds of thousands of Black, brown, and poor people every year just for our own interest. That is not cool.
Nah.
So I'm a patriot. I want to support all of my community, but I ain't one of those patriots.
Nah, not one of them. Nope.
Nope. And I actually think I'm a globalist more than give a rat's ass about our country per se.
I'm
As
like that
much
too.
We don't need to be fucking up these little kids.
Nah. It's a lot worse in other places, you know.
So anyways, let's go to the next guest. So the next guest is, oops, I lost my page, is Lauren from Aspire. And I don't know her well. And so I'm going to be basically getting to know her on air tomorrow. But what question would you like me to pass to her?
Okay.
Relationship education is what she does, by the way.
I don't know if the question that I have really
It does.
relate. Okay.
Your question's sweet.
And you're gonna have to rephrase this in a simpler way, but basically, is it really called support if your friends believe in you, but they don't believe in your mission or the product or service that you're trying to sell? So is there a line that do you even want that support if they believe in you and they don't believe in what you do?
Yeah.
And I would say that I wouldn't want that support if they don't believe in what I do, but they like me as a person. It's not enough. That it's you got to really like what I do.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
think earlier when we were talking, you used the word blindly support you.
basically,
Like,
yeah,
so, they're, I don't know why I'm obsessed with hip hop because I saw that at the bottom of your
my email
email
signature.
thing. And I've been thinking about hip hop all day as I've been wanting to be ready to talk to you and all that.
Yeah,
But, you know, blindly support is when you sit down and you eat your friend's food that's no good, right? And you just eat it. But the real support should be, yo, this sucks, man. You got to fix this. It's too salty or whatever.
exactly,
And the real support that you really want is like, oh shit, you are the best rapper I've ever heard in my life.
if
And
you believe it though.
yeah, you don't want that, oh man, you're my friend, so of course I support you. And
Exactly, I don't
I
want
don't know.
that.
There's some TikTok guys that do like horrible raps over really cool beats that are like, oh, they get all this. They're making fun of this whole idea, I think. So
That's interesting. I'm gonna have to tune into that.
yeah.
So yeah, but so you feel the way I feel, is in you only want that true support.
Well, the non-true support is super dangerous
Mm.
to an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah,
Or an artist, because if you are about to take your life savings, or not even the life savings, and I mean, all the money you got in your pocket, and spend it on studio time to try to get some LP out that's going to be really bad, and nobody's telling you that along the way, then it's the emperor's new clothes, right? You're getting support from people who they love you maybe because you're the brother. I always say it's your mom who's given that blind support,
for
and
sure.
you can never trust your mom on that, right? So you got to go out and you got to find people who are objective and who are willing to tell you, I love you, but this sucks.
Exactly. But there's
And
there's, there's two sides to that though, because you have the people who love you and actually don't think your shit sucks, but they don't care about it as well. Like,
oh, right,
and
yeah.
that's the one with me. Like, I got friends that they know my music is cool. They listen to it. They're like, "Yo, this is dope," but they don't actually listen to the whole album. They can't name one of my songs. They start asking dumb questions that if they were really fans of my music, that they would know. They don't think it sucks. They just don't care. But then
Mhm.
meanwhile, they're hitting me up like, "Yo, man, I see what you're doing, man. You going far, man. Like, when you go on tour, like, hit me up." That's even worse. You love me. You don't think my shit sucks, but you don't even care to listen at the same time.
They're rewriting history right before your eyes, right?
Hey, but I
Oh,
don't.
remember I always told you to hit me up when you went on tour. They
Yeah,
don't have to do shit, but remind you of that.
exactly.
I'm listening to all your stuff when we're done.
Hey, that's what's up.
Oh shoot, I bet I got a guy outside trying to get in with the
Hey,
3D printer.
go handle that, bro.
No, I ain't gonna handle it. He's good. He'll text me when he gets here. Um, so damn. Well, I'll just throw what Da Vinci put out there. Hip hop permeates all cultures and lifestyle. That's why I fell in love with it. And I would say that's why I fell in love with it too. I mean, it touched me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I could dance, so that
Oh,
helped as
you
well.
were a b-boy back in the day.
I was actually. You won't believe that, but I was.
Something
People
tells
that
me, yeah.
you go down that old school Lansing page, and a bunch of people remember me from Roller World and all that shit.
Big Jerry. Come on,
Nah,
man.
it's funny.
That's
But
what's up.
the song I was thinking about was Rapper's Delight, when they talk about you ever go over to a friend's house to eat and the food just ain't no good.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that it kind of reminds me of that. But the other thing though is sometimes I believe in a person, like an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
over the idea.
And that's what I'm
And
saying.
and I always say, believe, if I'll invest in a good entrepreneur with a bad idea over a great idea with a bad entrepreneur.
You broke it down
Right?
proper right there. Yeah.
So, you got to invest in people sometimes. Like, I just know people, everything they've ever said, I've thought, no freaking way are you going to do that? And they've done it. So now I believe in them, right?
Yeah.
And then sometimes I think that's a shitty idea, but they make it happen anyway. And I'm like, all right, what's the next one? What's the next thing you're going to try to make happen?
Right.
And I've got a moral compass. I believe in helping each other and not being predatory. So that's what I mean by good or bad ideas sometimes.
For sure.
But and I ain't talking about money. I'm talking about are you helping society?
Exactly.
Is what you're doing regenerative, sustainable, and helping all of us?
And to maybe even piggyback, I don't know where we're at on time, but so I was talking, Stephen McCory, is that name ring a bell? You know him? Okay.
I do.
We got in this conversation about how maybe if you help yourself and not so much try to help the world, that in a way helping yourself first will help the world, instead of maybe donating all this money, doing it, spending time in soup kitchens. But if you focus on your passion and get to the heights of where you need to be as an individual, and you have a good moral compass, then you can redirect the fruits of your labor to help that way. But there's two different ways to help. So it's funny.
I think about that a lot too. I think we all need to affect change from within, and that's an epiphany you have at one of your growing up stages, is that I need to quit yelling at all these people around me and look at myself and see what I can do different. But there's also the I'm going to climb to the top, and when I get there, here's the path, guys, and you're all coming with me.
Exactly.
Right? There's kind of two sides to that.
Yep.
And then it gets really dangerous, right? Like what happened to Jeff Bezos along the way, where he decided to say, I'm going to be the richest man in the world and fuck everybody.
Exactly. Right?
So it's all slippery slopes, man.
Oh, it is. It is. It's slippery, bro.
All right. I'm loving this. I don't know who's interviewing who, but I think we're doing all right, aren't we?
No, we are. We are. And a lot of people like to point fingers at the people at the top, but then it's like, do you really know how they feel unless you've been in the shoes? You hear people say, if I was Jeff Bezos, I'd give half of my money to the poor. I'm pretty sure if you were Jeff, you wouldn't give anybody shit. Yeah. So, it's funny. So,
well, to even get to that point, you had to already had that out of your mind.
Right.
I think, anyway.
What do you mean by that?
Well, one time somebody told me, you'll never be a billionaire. Wow. And I was offended by it, right? Well, it was a compliment.
Oh, you meant it like that.
You'll never have the mindset where you could screw people over so badly to get you to that billionaire thing. And I was pissed, man. At first I was all defensive and but it struck with me that I probably never could be a billionaire.
Exactly. So you thought about it.
Yeah.
The only way to be one is to cut corners from the people working for you.
Well, it seems like it, because there's not, it's the value of labor.
Right.
We can do nothing without other people. Right? I can't have a show without you.
Yep.
So what if I sold this show for $1 million and I gave you nothing?
I mean, it's your show,
right?
It's your show.
It's our show. It's our show, man. Okay. And it's going to be an NFT, and if it ever sells, we're going to split the money, and there's going to be a smart contract that never lets me break that, no matter how greedy and evil I turn in my old age.
Yo, you funny, man.
So, But if I did do that, I'm stealing your labor. We
Yeah.
could have split that money and we both would have been happier than, the $2 we're probably going to make off this show.
No, no doubt, man. That's real talk.
So I don't want to steal labor anymore. And I don't want other people to either. Because we all would be happy, healthy, not in poverty, not wanting to shoot each other. We'd be one-upping each other with euchre and cribbage and spades and tonk. We don't need guns to play this game.
Hey, I only knew one of those games you listed, and that was euchre. I don't know.
Dang.
I've never even played euchre either. I've heard it's a lot like spades, right? Or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
I listed spades.
Huh?
I said spades.
Okay. Oh, you did? Okay. I heard tonk and something. I don't know, but
tonk I used to play in the cafeteria with at Everett with all my friends. So
okay.
That's a gambling game.
That's so bad.
It's fun. It's super fun.
All right.
So, hey man, happiness, sadness, joy, hope, and or love. Which word or words would you like to talk about?
Let's do, happiness, sadness, and love, man.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, 1 second.
Yeah, go let this cat in.
Will you go open that front door and let that man in? Thank you. Sorry. Happiness, sadness, joy, hope, or I'm sorry. Happiness, sadness, and love.
Right.
All right. Where do you want to start?
I don't know. What makes you happy, man?
What makes me happy?
Yeah.
I think it's being able to create. I would start there.
Yeah.
And then being able to create with certain freedoms that sometimes I've been privileged to be given, and sometimes I have to fight with everything I have to get. But to be able to choose what I'm going to, after we're done with this show, the next thing I'm going to do is set up a 3D printer with a video camera on it to start showing kids in our neighborhood that they could be using advanced technologies and advanced manufacturing to pursue their dreams. Right. I get to go do that.
Right.
And then after that, I get to set up for a drawing class and I get to help Leap with the One and All program, and I get to put my chickens away. So what makes me happy is that I can be completely dedicated to my purpose.
Right. Here's what I'll add to that. Like, I feel like happiness is like only moments that we can cherish. Because I would assume that you're not as happy as you possibly can be at every day.
Absolutely not.
Those things you do, they make you happy at the time. Oh, if you got to bounce to let somebody in, like
I ain't gonna bounce. I'm just making sure he's coming in.
Nah, yeah.
And it's a young lady is studying. She's in 9th grade, so she does her homeschooling from here.
Okay.
So I'm also checking on to make sure she's good.
Yeah.
When I think about happiness, and I think about you and I, we could never define it the same way, probably, right?
Yeah.
It's different for everybody else. And I always thought that, like happiness was it was happiness and sadness was the same word, right? But if you change it to math, on the scale of 5, it's the happy side, and -3, it's the sad side. So it's some measure of some feeling, right?
I would agree with that.
And I always thought that that's how we lived. Like that was the constant. That was the ether, if you will, that we were in. But joy were these sparks of light and these sparks of just overall, oh my God, I can't believe that just happened. Or my song just sold 1 million, or, whatever. That girl just called me back.
Yeah.
Those were the joy things. And the happiness was something different, a wave. It was the almost the bank account between the joys and the screwed overs and
Right.
and 2 out of 3 people think I'm wrong. And that what you said, happiness are the blips,
Well,
and that joy is the constant.
see,
I don't know.
that's where we get into semantics, because happiness and joy are like, they're synonyms. I don't really think we should try to find the distinction between happiness and joy when they're both like make you feel good. I guess you could say happiness is like a total sum, which includes joy, but
Yeah.
I'm more inclined to go with you that happiness is on that scale and joy affects where the number is. I would agree with that.
And probably disappointment pulls it down or something
Yeah,
like that,
I don't.
right?
How else could you think about it, really?
All right, we have a universal theory for joy and happiness. You and I developed it. We'll be famous physicians someday, or physicists or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we just did it, bro. That's what's up.
All right, so you said happiness. We talked about that. You threw sadness in there. I hope I didn't steal. What were you going to say about sadness?
I feel like we almost covered it. I mean, everything we said about happiness is you could say about sadness. Sadness is defined differently for everyone. You know, there's things that affect how sad you are at certain points of your life. I mean, I don't think you could tell anyone they're not sad, you know?
Mm-hmm. Have you ever craved happiness?
I mean, every day, man.
Have you ever craved sadness?
Nah. See, that's a crazy.
I wonder if someone has.
I know. I think if they do crave sadness, there's something wrong with them. To me,
where you get so high on life or whatever, probably a fake happiness, where you're just trying to sabotage yourself. I know some examples.
Like where people crave sadness.
It's maybe not. Maybe we wouldn't call it sadness, but we crave. All right. So my whole life, and this came from my Mexican friends, and they started it, but I agreed with them immediately. They always said, "I hate white people. I don't trust white people." And I was like, white people make me nervous. They always have, they always will. About 3 weeks ago, somebody said, it's not white people, it's the whiteness. It's the mentality of believing that they're better than black or brown people. It's the mentality of wanting to keep some historical thing that is just horrible. It's the mentality of pull yourself up by the bootstraps without understanding poverty.
Yep.
And that 3 weeks ago was super, changed my whole perspective on a bunch of stuff. Because I have always said that, and it's never been easy to resolve or even to say out loud, because even you were somewhat shocked that I said that.
I mean, well, only because, you said it on a public platform. That's all I'm shocked.
Oh, I talked about it.
No,
I'm sorry. Is that okay?
Chest, all right. Like, that's what's up.
And so I guess that what I'm saying is that there are times when I see my privilege, and I have kind of a multiplied privilege because I'm ethnically ambiguous. I could be Mexican right now.
Hell yeah, you could.
And nobody would question me at all. Yeah. But I don't like to code switch like that. I just like to be ambiguous. I don't want anybody to know what I am because I don't want it to matter, but it does matter. So I don't know. It's all weird to me. I'm all fucked up.
No, I like the distinction between the whiteness, all those things. But then it's like, if you say you hate all white people, it's like you put the villain cape on, because that's the same shit they say to us.
Yeah.
We hate black. It's too much of a generalization and a stereotype.
Yeah. You know? It was always a certain type. I always had the archetype of what that white person was.
For sure.
When I said it, you know. And I don't know. That helped me resolve some shit. Maybe my family will.
What did it resolve though? So you finally figured out that it's a certain type of white person, basically.
No, it's a characteristic that all of us live on in a continuum.
Uh-huh.
And some of us have dealt with it and resolved it, and we don't do that shit anymore,
I
or
got
we try not to.
yeah.
But then there's this other, it's in all of them. It's in all
Okay.
of us.
It is.
And it's being managed well by some and not by others.
Okay, I'm glad you just said that. So, do you blame the people who aren't managing it well?
Um, at some level, I do, yes, because you have to stop the cycle. We can do everything we can for you to try to help you and to enable and empower you, but you have to make that decision that you're going to stop that cycle.
Right.
And when you're very fragile, that's not easy to do,
So
right?
that fragility that can be changed. You can be strengthened, right? Like,
Right.
and I want to tie that back into sadness. So you could have two people and the same things happen to both those people, and one of them doesn't take it as bad as the other one. Do you blame that person for feeling worse about that thing when it happened to, both of them? But one of them just took it better, like kind of made it, and the other person was like,
No, because every transmission of anything has a sender and a receiver.
okay,
And the sender, if that sender is the same to you and to me,
yeah,
we're still two different receivers.
right,
I don't know what you've been through, and you don't know what I've been through. And that particular thing could have triggered, I mean, that could be, that could lead to my daughter's death, when my daughter died, that
right.
maybe it triggers that out of it. So I get to be sad. However, I need to and want to be sad.
Right.
And so do you.
So then, if you draw a parallel between what we were just talking about too, like, you, I mean, does that, in a sense, does that person get the right to feel how they want to feel about race? Because of the experiences that they went through, that the other person didn't go through. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's a certain,
Yeah.
and I'm not trying to say that being racist is okay in any way, but
no, but I think there's, I deal with, I struggle with this a lot.
yeah.
Because, it's, there are some, I say I'm radically inclusive.
Right.
No matter who walks through that door, I'm going to say yes to their project.
Right.
Now, does that really mean if Trump walks through this door, I'm going to help him build a wall?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
It probably doesn't mean that, but it might, because I'll take another side of it. It also means if some kid from the neighborhood, and I know that implies black, but I'm going to say white, brown, black, whatever,
because it shouldn't matter,
walks in here and says, "Hey, Jerry, help me buy some Bitcoin so I can flip some Percocet." All right? I'm going to tell him yes. I already know that. You know why I'm going to tell him yes? Because if I tell him no, I'll never engage with him again.
Yeah.
Right? But if I tell him yes, I can pull up a business model canvas. I can talk about risk mitigation. I can talk about all kinds of stuff. And we can take all those skills he's coming at me with and pivot them to something that ain't going to get him shot, that ain't going to get him arrested and all that.
No doubt. Can
I do that with the Trumpster, though? And that's where my bias is, because I have this whiteness bias. And I have black, I do racist microaggression things. I'm sure that I do, and I'm looking for them all the time. I was giving a shout out to the Big Reds the other day, Sexton.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't be saying Big Reds. They shouldn't be called that.
Yeah, well, you don't got to feel bad about it. That's their name that someone else gave them.
Yeah, but we should do something about it. Maybe we should change it or whatever. So, it's so super complicated.
It is.
And my general go-to thing is love this human being who just walked in, because if we can help them, we can help them. If we can meet them where they're at, we can meet them where they're at. They're on a journey, and let's try to get us all walking in the same direction towards the same goal. It
I
should
agree.
be love, compassion, all this.
Yeah, like throw away those preconceived notions and surface value things. Like wait, just meet that person, and if you like them, like it's all good. Like it doesn't matter, you know, for sure.
It's, you know, Saturday, September 11th is 365. That's CISO. 366, nothing planned. If you want to take the show for a year,
Hey,
I'll get you the guests. You
wait,
can
what
be the host.
you want me to run the show for a year?
Yeah, you be the host. You do it.
I will do it. If you're being serious, I'll take it over.
I wouldn't want to do that upon anybody, but I've never talked about most of this stuff we're talking about right now.
I like to get deep, man.
You told me that at the beginning
Yeah.
that you wanted to have a conversation and you wanted to go back and forth, and you've done that the most.
And yeah, that it's funny because it kills me. I'll go out to like a bar where me and the homies are trying to have a good time. I'll meet a stranger and I'll like straight deep dive in them, and then they'll just be like, "Yo, what are you doing?" Like we just trying to drink right now, and I'm over here trying to like poke and pry and get to the bottom of someone who I just met. It's like,
All right, you tell me when you want to go have a drink. We'll go have a drink, and then we can do both things: be the
word,
friends and that.
word.
Hey, you said love. We didn't say much about it.
I don't even know how to. Well, okay. I'll say something about love. For me, I've never loved like I've been in a serious relationship before. It's all like one night stands, couple month flings. I've never been in a long-term relationship, so I really can't speak upon love in that matter, and I don't think I ever can. I think love is transactional when it comes down to it. I don't think that fairy unconditional love comes from anywhere else but your mother. When we're talking about friends, partners, it's all, I like what you do for me and I like what I do for you, but until you stop liking what that person does. So I don't believe love is real personally unless it's from your mom or your brother.
That's almost the same thing we talked about with the they blindly like what you do, right?
Yeah.
And I said your mom's the one that you can't trust because she's gonna love you no matter what.
Yo.
Good tie-in, man.
What do you think? A lot of people hate on me, and they like Cecil calls me a robot because I don't believe in love, and I like that. But and a lot of people do. What do you think?
Well, I do believe in love. But I'm not going to say that you're wrong because, like all emotions and everything in life, we're on a spectrum, we're in a continuum, and you might be over here and I'm over here, and that's always okay with me because you make my brain bigger by being over there. Now I get to learn more because you're over there. So I would never. I enjoy that you're over there at some level, but I also think that I'm older. I've been married for 23 years. I lost a daughter to a heroin addiction, a fentanyl overdose. I have my daughter. I have my my other daughter. I have my grandkids. I have my son. These feelings, this love, it's there. I have unconditional love for some of them, but that doesn't mean I won't slap my son up the back of his head, if I need to. But unconditional love is scary. I would never want my wife to necessarily feel. I want to earn my wife's love every day. So is that transactional?
Hell yeah, it is.
Right?
Inherently by definition. Yeah.
So
and that's messed up.
I don't know.
I mean, that didn't really. No, I don't think it's messed up. But so, what does that mean at the end of the day?
I don't know. Yeah, I never had this question before, and you're making me think about it. I'll send you my written answer. You told me that.
That's that.
I don't know. It's. I mean, love is so complicated, but I can tell you, what's it mean when, I'm out there on the porch giving away needles to some young lady who needs to exchange her needles so she doesn't get hep C, or she doesn't have to do something even worse for the guy next door that'll give her the needles, but whatever. And so, and then when I turn around and I walk back in and I'm crying, is that love? Is it sadness? Why do I feel sadness if I didn't feel love?
That's like the Bitcoin Percocet analogy. I mean, yeah. I think that's the best form of love you could show in that situation. She could have died from hep C. You made it so she was indulging in her vice in a safe way. That's the best you could do. But
do I love her?
You have to. You in that situation, you helped her. If she's gonna do it anyway, you made it so she did it safely. I mean, can't tell a grown woman what to do.
That's right.
I don't know.
You enjoy this?
I do, man. This is honestly, if I wasn't a rapper, I would love to do this every day and get paid for it.
Oh yeah, there's that problem too.
You feel me? Like, come on, man.
I've really enjoyed this show.
Yeah.
Katie, I don't know if you know Katie. She Power and Passion. It's a reentry, like people that get in and out of prison, helping them not experience recidivism.
No, it's dope.
Fledgling, but she loves this show. She said it was fire. She corrected it with is.
Oh no, for sure. She
didn't hang up yet.
How you know Katie well?
I do know Katie well. She started out of here. I help her with her company, stuff like that.
Cool. So, I mean,
so I can't thank you enough for not just coming on the show, but actually just saying, I'm going to put my own style on it. I'm going to ask him questions too. People will ask me one or two, but you're the only one that's really come back at me every single time and made me talk about things in a different way.
Yeah.
So thank you for doing that. And thanks for coming on the show.
And it was fun. Like the back and forth was great. I've met you a few times, but I've always wanted to really get to know you on that level. So that's why I had to do that.
I think we need to go have a drink.
Shoot.
The Avenue? Where are we going? The Loft is not open yet, I don't think, is it? Are they closed? Or they're different?
I think they're reopening in October.
Okay.
Where do you get drinks at? I usually hit some spot downtown or whatever.
I usually go to the Avenue as my go-to place, but if I have to get there and back real quick, I'll scoot over to Soup Spoon too and drinking a soup or something like that.
That's what's up. Hey, I go to the Avenue every night, play pool. Like that's my spot. So
what? Every night?
Bro, yeah.
All right, I'll be there at about 9:30 when this drawing class is over.
All right, say less.
Nah, I can't do it tonight.
Hey, but it don't matter.
All right, we're gonna go have a drink and play some pool. You good at pool?
I'm very good.
Very good.
I mean, you could ask about me if you pull up at the Ave. It'd be like, "Yo, is Kwaj good?" It'd be like, "He's the nicest." So, yeah, I'm that good.
All right, we'll see.
Yeah. All right. So, what's up? We wrapping up?
Yep. What would you like to take us out with?
Yo, I mean, if you watch the show, you know what I want to take it out with. So if you tuned in, you already know what it is, and if you just tuned in, I don't know, be the best you can be, you know, and check out my music too. So, yeah.
I did that Spotify, right? Yep. Yeah. Spotify's up there, right. And we'll push it around a little bit more too. All right.
For sure.
All right, yo. Thank you so very much. I really enjoyed this, and just stick around with me for 2 seconds more. All right.
Yeah, I'll be here.
All right, everyone. See you tomorrow. Got 3 shows left, so